Breaking news is brought to you by Colby Brooks with Century 21 Right Pace Real Estate and buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all of your real estate needs. There's concerning breaking news that we've just learned about on NEA Report. We're bringing it to you live now in a special report with the city of Egypt being at the center of this. And now we know why last year that a man was arrested for making a mere records request. He made the records request and was repeatedly denied, but the persistent man continued until he was arrested several times. Now we know why, and it's more clear and concerning than ever. The police chief forged documents that were required for him to be a police officer. He printed his GED off of the internet. Not to mention, he took another officer's radar certificate and put his on top of it. Tonight, why the man is not being charged by prosecutors, why investigators recommended no charges, and what's next for the city of Egypt. It's breaking news on NEA Report.
Now, Stan Morris reporting.
Hello, you've reached the Egypt City Hall. Please leave your name and number, and the appropriate department will get back with you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Hello, this is Stan Morris. I'm the lead news reporter for NEA Report, and I'm calling after receiving concerning information that your police chief forged several documents, possibly including his diploma, for his qualifications to be a law enforcement officer. According to the information I've received from the Division of Law Enforcement Standards and Trainings, he is not certified to be a police chief or an officer in the law, and yet he currently is, based on the information I have. I need to call back immediately to address this. And I did give them my phone number, just so you know, but of course that was recorded just before I began my broadcast because I don't want to give my phone number out on the air. Stan Morris reporting along with you, 3/17, and it's February 12th, 2020. I've got my dates mixed up a little bit because I've had to go back in time today. We've had to go back in time to January, where a news story took place that we just learned about today. Now we know why, as we told you in the preview, that the man that was arrested last year and charged for making a Freedom of Information Act request, we know how he was arrested now. The police chief forged his GED. We found this out today through documents that were released to NEA Report. It was actually an investigation, an internal audit, or actually an agency audit by the Division of Law Enforcement Standards and Training. It's called CLEST, and they have to certify officers for them to be law enforcement officers in Arkansas. Well, what happened was, if you go back in time, and if you remember the story last year, Stephen Warren, he thought something was going on with Chief Gerald Goza. And so he requested his records several times, and every time he was told no. In fact, one time he was told that this FOIA crap, she's not going to put up with it, the lady at the window. We'll get to her name in a minute, by the way, but she's not going to look forward to that. Well, what led to his arrest led to a lawsuit. Zach Morrison, who's with Reese Law Firm, represented Warren, and Warren prevailed. But this was back in December. You already knew about this if you followed NEA Report. What you didn't know about was what we found out today. We found out why they fought tooth and nail to keep those records from being released. It's because he printed his GED off of the internet. That's what I'm told by Craighead County Sheriff Marty Boyd. I FOIA'd the information in the investigative file. Right now, it's being printed off as we speak at the Sheriff's Department. I'm told it's such a big file, I'm not going to get it until tomorrow, and there's really nothing I can do about that. Here's what we know. I did, thankfully, according to Marty Boyd, get some more information about what happened, and he told us, according to Marty Boyd, Chief Goza resigned January 7th. He resigned because he was contacted by the Division of Law Enforcement Standards and Training, and they told him his GED was bogus. They told him it did not work. It was printed off of the internet, and it was not accepted by the Department of Education. But it wasn't the only document that he had forged, and that is forgery. The other document that he had forged was a radar certification. He had been accused of forging a radar certificate And he advised agents with Clest that he did duplicate another officer's certificate. What he did, he took that officer's certificate and copied his name on top of it. He even left the other officer's information, his registration number, which is how that he got caught. There were other deficiencies. As for the audit of officer files, the missing birth certificate from Goza's filed, state police FBI fingerprint returns, a physical examination, firearms training, racial profiling training, a discrepancy about the acceptance of a high school diploma on file. See, apparently there was a high school diploma on file, but it wasn't actually a high school diploma or legit. It says that they contacted Southeastern High School and that was not accepted, that diploma, by the Department of Education. So they found out, but he actually, apparently, either he presented a false GED or he printed one off of the internet. Because I was told that by Marty Boyd. Which begs the question, how many times did he go back to him and take something after he was caught? I don't know. We're going to find out hopefully tomorrow with the files released. But Goza, he was not qualified, never completed his GED or high school. But you know what he did do? He arrested the guy that knew about this when he was requesting the records. Warren was arrested for this last year, for requesting Goza's records, and he was arrested by Goza. An arrest that was not legal. For two reasons. Number one, there was no premise, no legality for him to arrest a man for making a Freedom of Information Act request. Public officials have to comply with those requests, even if they think they own the records, even if they don't like records requests or don't like the person requesting it. Doesn't really matter. The other issue is that Goza was not even qualified legally to be certified as a police officer in Arkansas. And according to one person I spoke with at the prosecutor's office, every arrest he ever made may have been illegal. Every arrest. This guy was going around pretending to be a cop on qualifications that were not true, that were fraudulent. And he's not going to be charged. Because I'm told there was no criminal intent. Even though forgery was committed twice. At least, according to the document I have. Even though Goza had Warren arrested, he didn't have him arrested. He arrested him himself for requesting the documents that we now know he knew at the time were forgeries. He arrested a man knowing that the guy was requesting his forged personnel files. What a rotten apple this guy is. Never needs to be a police officer ever again. Needs to be criminally charged right now. But Prosecutor Scott Ellington, Assistant Prosecutor Jessica Coleman, not charging him. The Sheriff's Department said that they sent the file to them and the final decision was theirs. But the sheriff also said they found no criminal intent. Since he actually had radar certification, he just didn't have the certificate and he forged somebody else's. That's what I'm told. I'd like to see his actual certification, by the way. We still don't have that. And I'm told since he didn't know his internet GED wasn't real, that there will be no charges. For every other human that I've ever encountered in the criminal justice system, ignorance of the law was never innocence of the law. But it's going to be for Mr. Goza. Even though he made illegal arrests to hide records, even though he committed forgeries and admitted to it according to this Clest letter to the city, which was over a month ago and we just found out about it. And even though he defrauded the city of a paycheck, for how long? How long did he get paid every week for a job he never once was qualified for and could not legally enact a single arrest in? If it was one paycheck, you or I would be arrested for that. But not today. And so it's, to be honest, smelling a little bit fishy on this reporter's nose for news. It's not adding up. The man broke the law, clearly. He was under a criminal investigation for this by the Craighead County Sheriff's Department, clearly. The shameful mayor over there, who should be ashamed of himself and immediately resign, Jerry Cook, apparently knew about this for the entire last month and never once informed the public or a media outlet in the area. Not to mention, Cook lost the lawsuit over the FOIA crap. Remember? That's a quote, not me. After he was alleged to have said that word, FOIA crap. That was his. See, Mayor Cook was accused of having Warren arrested by telling Goza, go take him in, pick him up. And the chief admitted on video that the mayor wanted him taken in. But those were bogus charges. And as part of the settlement, the charges were dismissed, which should tell you a little bit about the way this criminal justice system seems to be working. A guy had to file a civil suit to get bogus criminal charges against him dropped. And when it's found out that the police officer arrested him and filed the charges wasn't even legally an officer, the prosecutor won't pursue charges. This is the type of stuff that causes people to lose faith in the system. And I, as a person of character that wants to tell the truth to my followers and viewers, can't tell you that you shouldn't be upset about this. You should. I've spent the last several hours on the phone with Prosecutor Scott Ellington asking him why I don't like or accept the answers that he gave. It's a matter of fact, I think that his office will do anything it can to avoid charging a police officer. And I think that's how they've always been. The assistant prosecutor that's on it, former assistant city attorney Jessica Coleman, she would never charge a cop with anything. Doesn't matter. They tried their best to talk me out of reporting this today, tried to insinuate to me that there might be more that's being looked into this guy. How much more do you need to make an arrest? He was fraudulently acting as a police officer and arrest someone who caught him doing it. Shameful. Absolute shame. So, I got some quotes I want to give you because I talked to the sheriff and I asked him more about this, and I said, how could you guys not find fraud on this guy for this, for the diploma, GED thing, and for the radar certificate? He said our investigation found there was no fraud intent on either the high school diploma or the radar, because through the investigation they learned he actually had radar certification, even though he didn't actually have his GED. So intent. There was no intent there. Due to the letter, he's not recognized as a police officer right now. As a matter of fact, if he tried to pass himself off as a cop right now, if the police did their job, he would be arrested and charged with impersonating a police officer. Although I wonder why he's not being arrested for that anyway, considering that's what he just did for the past year plus. So, Ellington said we were told he put his name on a certificate that was not his certificate, but evidently detectives verified that certificate was actually issued to him at some point, just not the fraudulent one. He just wanted a piece of paper with his name on it. The question was, is it the intent to defraud? How would it not be? He wanted to convince somebody he had something he did not have, which was the paper, not the certification. But you're dealing with selective logic, right? Because here we go, buddy systems in play. He's not supposed to be working at the police department, I was told, and he's not. He resigned on January 7th, which we didn't know about until today. Mayor Jerry Cook does not call back media. He's paid for by the taxpayers' money, but he will not call back the press. And we played the call at the beginning of this, of me giving him a call. There's never been a return call back. This is a case that there needs to be a federal investigation into, or at least a higher investigation into, because it is clear, just as we have seen in Greene County last year with Scott Pillow, just as we've seen countless other times before, police cover for police here, and they won't arrest each other when they do wrong, apparently even if you're not a legal police officer. But hey, don't get caught with a roach in your ashtray, folks. You go to jail for that, or underage drinking, I hear that's another issue too. Thanks for watching on NEA Report. We'll be back tomorrow with this case and a breaking news report live tomorrow. We're not leaving this one alone. Once I get the investigative file from police tomorrow, I'm going to come back in here, go through it, and I'll go live to you immediately. If you'd like more information on this, I may be able to provide more later to supporters. It's iffy if I can, but I'm going to do my best. 99 cents a month if you'd like to sign up. It supports us in what we do, not to mention that we're going to have to go and pick up some more documents that are probably going to be, I would expect at least 100 pages or more, so it may take an extensive amount of time to go through. I was told it was too large to email. So we're going to be going through that tomorrow. We'll be back with breaking news as it breaks out. NEAreport.com today has a lot of breaking news. There was an arrest that was actually just announced for the Paragould school lockdown that took place earlier this week. Terrible case, and authorities are taking they're taking absolutely no chances. You mess around with this stuff, you're going to jail, and that's good. So wish it was the case for Chief Goza. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a good night. Now you're up to date on NEA Report.